I'm a Raider, Oakland Raider. From the Bay to LA to Las Vegas.
Just
I'm
win,
a
baby.
player, a boss player. And if you with me, pop your collar, shake them haters. I'm a Raider, Oakland Raider. From the Bay to LA to Las Vegas. Cause I'm a player, boss player. And if you with me, pop your collar, shake them haters. I'm a Raider.
What's up, Raider Nation? We are back, baby. It is your boy Mariano, and I'm here with
Victor Freeze,
host, co-host. Yeah, that's how we doing it today. You know what I'm saying?
Equals.
We are equals. All right, so you know how we do. Week in, week out, we're going to hit you with the news and notes of the week. We're also going to give y'all our thoughts on the Thanksgiving game. You know we got that dub, that West Side dub. And then we're going to follow up with the preview of the game against the Washington football team. Now, before we get into this, I need y'all to call and text, right? The phone number that you can call is 415-634-9086. One more time for the people that wasn't paying attention. 415-634-9086. Now, Vic, let's go ahead and dive into the news and notes. What you got for us, man?
So this week we are going to be looking at injuries, right? So what injuries do we have on the table? Obviously, the big one is Darren Waller. Mm-hmm. This week he has a strained IT band. I was like, what the fuck is IT band?
Yeah, I never heard of that.
Never heard of that.
That was a first. That was a first for me.
Looks like Foster Moreau might be starting this week. Looks like a week-to-week thing. Thankfully, he's not done for the season.
Yeah.
Because it looked very crazy when he like snapped back and he's like,
yeah, I thought we instantly think worst case scenario, right? Like done for the season. He tore his ACL, tore this, tore that. But thank God it looks like it's gonna be a couple to a few week thing. The next thing we got is Trent Sieg is on the COVID-19
I'm gonna rewind that one back, Mariano.
My bad.
We didn't finish all the injuries.
That's technically an injury.
I know we didn't finish. I said we didn't finish all the injuries. We have Nick Kukaski and Keyshawn Nixon. They're back from their injuries this week. Trayvon Mullen was supposed to be scheduled to be back this week. It's looking a little rough for him though. Might be back next week or the week following. Would love to have him back against KC though, but we'll see. I wonder what they never disclosed the injury, did they? That he had
for Trayvon?
Yeah.
No, I never seen anything anyway.
I never seen anything disclosed. And then we had Djax sitting out today, and I think that's just a veteran rest day.
It was his birthday today,
and it was his birthday too.
So he's probably recovering from being hungover and turning up in Vegas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but those are the main.
But he probably wasn't at Top Golf. Just saying.
Too soon.
My bad.
All right, hit him up with the next one, Mariano, before I stop the tracks.
Trayvon Mullins had a toe injury apparently in week 4 against the Chargers. So that's the first that I heard about that toe injury. I wonder if it's his big toe or his pinky toe. What you think?
Probably his big toe.
Big toe? All right, man. All right. The biggest thing for me, news and notes of the week, is Trent Sieg. Now, this is a terrible, terrible thing. And the reason why is because the last time that the Raiders didn't have their long snapper, John Kondo, they ended up having a terrible special teams week. Now, this is a big thing because let's say they're in field goal position, whatever it may be, or the PATs. Are they going to be going for 2 this week? Are they just not going to kick field goals? I know that they did sign a long snapper.
Hold on, I'm going to put his last name's Tinker. Carson Tinker, I think is his name. Yes, Carson Tinker.
Yeah, Carson Tinker from Alabama, by the way. Another Alabama cat. Now, this thing is tricky because it's a very vital part to the PAT or a field goal. And it's all about timing, right? So even if it's slightly off, it can make a dramatic difference. So we'll see. It'll be, remain to be seen how this will all unfold.
He was the starting long snapper for the Jaguars for a couple of years until 2019. So at least he does have some veteran experience under his belt. So I think that brings a little bit of ease. I think it was because of an ACL injury. How the fuck does a long snapper suffer an ACL injury?
Hey man, he's snapping that ball hard. You know what I mean?
So he suffered that in 2017, got cut by it in 2019. So yeah, I think we should be in good hands because he's obviously had from
some professional experience.
Yeah, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it remains to be seen. Deshaun Old Man Jackson's birthday, we kind of already touched on that. He's 35. Can you believe that?
Still burning corners.
I mean, that makes sense, though, because I remember watching him when we were in high school, you know?
Yeah.
And he's still doing his damn thing, man. Still doing his damn thing.
It's crazy.
It's a trip.
And then, you know, the last thing we want to talk about is playoffs. Coming off the Bengals game.
Playoffs?
It seemed like a distant thing. Like, it was like all hope was lost. What are playoffs like for the Raiders, right? Being 5-5, and that one simple win, and some teams losing took it from 11 in the playoff hunt, and we're back to 8 on the outside looking in, right under the Chargers. Obviously, Chargers got the tiebreaker since they beat us. But we're right there. We're back in the mix of things, and we're playing games in December, meaningful games. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. To try to get into this playoff spot. And then I think the two most important games we got the Browns. Obviously, they're in the hunt for it too, and I think we got the Colts.
Yeah, some more AFC opponents coming up.
Mm-hmm. So those are going to be two big games. And then the Kansas City game coming up too, especially because the AFC West is records are so close. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Those are the three biggest games I'm looking at in order to continue with this playoff push.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's so close. If Denver beats KC this week and the Raiders win and Chargers lose, there could be a 4-way tie for first place.
The Chargers will have to win, though, right?
Chargers win, right?
Oh, you're talking about for first place?
I'm talking about for first place in the AFC West.
Uh-huh.
There could potentially be a 4-way tie.
Oh, against Denver.
Going into next
Chargers
week.
would be fucked unless they win, right?
So let's say Denver beats KC.
Yeah.
Right. Chargers beat Cincinnati. And the Raiders beat the Washington football team. I almost said it.
We'd be in third, wouldn't we?
Well, because we would all have the same record, though.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Now, that it would obviously come down to tiebreakers, but no one looks at fucking tiebreakers when it's week 13.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We would all have the same record. Yeah. That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, we're talking a game of inches. The fact that Denver is still winning football games is kind of, it's got me out of my seat, man. I don't see it in June.
I think the biggest surprise is the whooping they put on the Chargers, bro. That 30 to...
It's such a surprise. Just because I don't think that they're a very good football team. They're obviously 10 times better when Teddy Bridgewater is in. Teddy Two Gloves. Mm-hmm. But they got rid of Von Miller. I mean, they still got talent, obviously, between Chubb.
Yeah, Chubb is Bradley Chubb.
Bradley Chubb, and then also Justin Simmons on that defensive side of the ball. Yeah. But ultimately, it's still a surprise, man, and that's it's got to be a huge surprise for me.
Yeah. Crazy. We're moving on to the takeaways from the Thanksgiving game. Mariano, you want to kick it off?
Yeah. Our offense is back alive.
Let's go,
baby. Right? DC played a hell of a game. And in order for us to even sniff the playoffs this year, he has to consistently play at this level week in and week out. Mm-hmm. We can't have a game where, he's either fumbling the ball, which we haven't seen an issue with him fumbling this year. Which in years past, if he wasn't throwing picks, he was fumbling the ball. But he has to stay consistent with what he's doing. And now that we do have a deep threat in Deshaun Jackson, it opens up the offense just so much better.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely what I took away from this game is that Brandon Parker needs to be replaced. by probably Illuminor, because he was a right tackle with the Patriots and played decently. According to Sanjeet. Thank you, Sanjeet, for doing the research for me.
That's right. I like it.
But
solid dude, Sanjeet. I like him a lot. Congrats on having that baby, by the way.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Definitely don't like Parker's play. And then we saw definitely a resurgence in the offense, the running game too, especially. And I think we need to continue with that. And if the running game ain't working, we obviously know next week, we'll touch on that later, it's going to be a little bit tougher to run the ball maybe. But in the play action, is a huge thing. We were watching it on the TV earlier. Mm-hmm. They had more play action passes this game, which definitely helped the offense out a lot. And this is one of the more complete games we've seen, obviously. Special teams, lacked a little bit, obviously, because of the return of the fucking... How many yards was it? The fucking kickoff return?
100 and some yards.
Yeah, obviously like that was like the only part I'd say they messed up on, but...
Yeah, they really shit the bed on that.
Other than that, it was against a good opponent too, which is Dallas Cowboys. They're no slouch. They were coming in at 7-3.
Mm-hmm.
So defense, they did their job when they had to. It still went to overtime, but
I'm really sad. Side note, I'm really sad that Cowboys fan blocked us. By the way,
that boy was hot.
I'm just saying, man. We appreciate it. We like going back and forth. It ain't nothing, personal like that. We didn't get, at the end of the day, it started. So me and Vic, we share the Instagram, right? So I seen Vic went in first, right? He said something to him. How about fuck them Cowboys, something like that, right? And then he just kept going. At the end of the day, it's all love, though. We both obviously love this team, and I'm sure other people love their teams too. But for the record, he came to our page.
Yeah, that's true. On a random week where it had nothing to do with the Cowboys either.
Right.
Talking about fuck the Raiders.
Yeah.
Go Cowboys. And it was like random. It was like 3 weeks before Thanksgiving or some shit.
And then to shut it down, he wants to say, well, let's bet money. Let's bet money that the Cowboys have a better regular season. And I had to simply reply, there ain't no scenario where you win this, because guess what? You already took that L.
Yeah.
So it is what it is at the end of the day. But like I said, it's all love either way. He'll probably never see us again because he blocked us. He blocked us. I might just DM him from my personal page and be like, hey man, it is what it is.
That was just the the dessert to go with your Thanksgiving dinner was that. That was a cherry on top. That was hilarious.
That was lovely. I did see though that the Raiders were all time 0-3 on Thanksgiving until this past Thanksgiving Thursday.
I did not know that.
Yeah, which is huge, right? I'm so happy that they finally got over the hump, man.
And then another thing is that the coin predicted it right.
The coin?
You don't know about the coin?
Mm-mm.
You don't know about... I talked about it on the last podcast, Mariana.
Oh, I'm
sorry. The coin is this coin. You gotta watch it. I'll send you a video, but basically it's a coin, right? Mm-hmm. A user on Reddit, predicted the Raiders' schedule by flipping a coin. And so far, they've gotten every game up to this point right, bro. Bro, I swear to God, yeah, bro. I'm about to show you the video, bro.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild.
So you got us going 10-7, sneaking into the playoffs as the 7th seed. So
hey,
the coin's been right so far, man.
Yeah, I'll fucking take it. Ain't by any means. You get us to the playoffs this year, I'll take it. I'll flip 20 damn coins. It don't matter.
The coin's the real thing, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Ultimately, they played a good game though, with the exception of the special teams mishaps.
Yeah. And then definitely got to see this Derek Carr, like you were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. This aggressive Derek Carr moving forward if we have any chance to make the playoffs, man. Yeah.
DC has to play lights out. They have to keep running the play action. When you can establish a run game and draw these linebackers in and hit them over the top. We have the weapons to do so. Even with Darren Waller out, let's just say hypothetically that he's out this weekend. Foster Moreau, he's no slouch. He can still get the job done. He can run, he can block, he can catch. So really, there's no excuses, man. In the NFL, it's the next man up constantly, right? And I think that they'll get it done.
Yeah, I don't hear none of that shit from the Cowboys. Like, oh, we didn't have CeeDee Lamb, we didn't have fucking Amari Cooper. Yeah, Darren Waller went out for us. We lost Ruggs. We fucking, bro, like, there ain't no excuses, man.
We've dealt with so much turmoil. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you gotta win.
Exactly.
You gotta win, and the Cowboys just they didn't do enough. Not doing enough.
Any last notes on them, or you want to move on to the next one?
I'm on to the next one, baby.
All right, so we are going to evaluate our matchup against the Washington football team, who just played, I was going to say last night, that was 2 nights ago, against the Seahawks, man. And one thing to note is that defense, even without Chase Young,
still solid.
Pretty good.
Yeah. William Jackson's balling out the corner. They still got Landon Collins, Deron Payne, Ioannidis. I mean, the defensive line is still solid.
Yes,
still solid.
This might be, like I said earlier, this might be another game where it might be tough to run the ball.
Yeah.
Right? So I think key thing was continue the usage of play action that we had last week, continue it on to this week.
Yep.
Definitely try to stick away from William Jackson side throwing.
Yeah, you know what? I felt that way. I didn't get a chance to be on the episode last week, but I felt that way about Diggs last week. And DC, I mean, he didn't attack him too much, but he's throwing to the open man.
Yeah.
Right? And let's test it a little bit. We got to take the shots down the field. Derek Carr stretching the field amazingly. Yeah. Amazingly. You got to keep taking them shots. And look what happens when you take those shots. You either get a PI or you get a big play down the field. Simple as that. Or it's a PBU, right? Unless you're just chucking it up and you're throwing a duck and picking it off like you did a couple weeks ago.
Throwing a fucking prayer up there.
Yeah, but for the most part, Derek Carr is great at reading coverage and understanding what the defense is trying to do to him. So when you have those chances to take shots down the field and you have the time to step up in the pocket, you got to take those shots down the field. You got to keep stretching the field. Ultimately, that opens up the whole field for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay? So.
And then moving on to the defensive side of the ball, I think the linebackers might have their handful with Antonio Gibson. He's a great back who could also catch the ball out the backfield. So, KJ Wright, Denzel Perryman, seen him beat a couple times by some tight ends / running backs this season. They're just like a step too slow to keep up with some of them, you know?
It's a game of inches.
And it might be a mismatch you want to keep your eye on. Hopefully Corey Littleton stays on Antonio Gibson for the most part. Or we even have Jonathan Abram come down and cover him a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
And then the next thing is really outside of Terry McLaurin, you have the Logan Thomas, and we fucking suck at covering the tight end. Obviously, I just said that the linebackers have had issues with that
for years.
That's a well-known rated thing. I think the best time we had was when fucking Bowman came in for like half a season or whatever.
Yeah.
It's probably like the best we were at covering the tight end in the last fucking decade. But definitely Logan Thomas is coming off of that injury. He's still dealing with like some little hamstring injury, but should start this week. And he's an athlete, man. And when he's fully healthy, he does amazing things on the field. So I think we just got to watch out for Terry McLaurin on the outside. We saw Casey Hayward some vulnerability last week, you know?
Yeah, tough game. Still didn't give up a touchdown though. So I mean, you're doing your job, man. Right? You're doing your job. Ultimately, with the defensive side of the ball, we have to keep the run game under control because I don't think that Taylor Heineke, I mean, I think he's a baller, don't get me wrong. He's a undrafted, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's an undrafted player, only undrafted player to start an NFL game this year.
Yeah.
Undrafted quarterback,
Yeah.
excuse me. You have to force him to win the game, right? It's obviously a tall task, but at the same time, we held the Dallas Cowboys to like 60 rushing yards on the ground last week.
Yeah.
So if they could keep that momentum going, if Jonathan Hankins can have another stellar game like he did last week, I think that we have the tools that we need to win this game. Now, ultimately, if you're looking at both teams on paper, I do believe that the Raiders are the better football team. In the trenches, skill players, the quarterback position, all around, I think that we should win this game.
Probably minus offensive line.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, offensive line's coming together, though.
Yeah, they're gelling together. I think Brandon Parker is I just have a thing for Brandon Parker. I fucking hate him.
Yeah, he's had good games this year, though, too, you know? Everybody...
I just don't like the inconsistency. You know, he does have his moments, I'm not going to lie, but...
Yeah, I just... Fuck, he was better than Leatherwood when Leatherwood was playing.
That's true, hey.
You know?
That's fucking true.
I mean, who you gonna throw out there? Illuminor,
he was a good... Sanji broke it down. He was a good right tackle for the Patriots when he started for them. I think he started 11 games, something like that for them.
Yeah.
At right tackle. And then he was doing a great job when he was at guard for us, too.
Yeah, no, I agree, but we ain't the Patriots. And the Patriots will scheme... No, seriously, man. I mean, the Patriots will scheme... certain things around players that they use their strengths.
Yeah.
Right? Ultimately, we've proven that we can win games with this offensive line, and we have to stick with what's working.
Yeah.
Right? If they can establish this, it's going to be tough to establish this run game against this defense, right?
Yeah.
But if you can at least get the ball rolling, at least enough to get the play action going. I think that we're going to be solid moving forward. But we'll see, man. I'm excited. This is just the fact that we're still in the hunt and it's December. It's a good feeling because how many years have we gone through 2 and 14 seasons, you know?
It comes December, you're like, do I still got to watch?
Yeah, exactly.
But you still end up watching them.
Yeah. So, I mean, ultimately, we're still in the hunt. I think that at the beginning of the year, if you would have, asked me how would you feel about the Raiders still being in the hunt in December, I'd say sign me up all day long, right?
Yeah, and then I think this is important too because this is part of our whole collapse curse. You know what I'm saying? Are we gonna bring it back together? Because the collapse is looking on coming with that 3-game losing streak. So it's like right now, it's definitely. You got to win these next couple games. Chiefs going to be tough. Browns, obviously, even with Baker.
We got Chiefs next week.
Yeah, right after Washington.
Yeah. So let's say we beat Washington. That'll put us at 7-5. Let's just say we drop the game to the Chiefs because I honestly don't know if we're gonna win that game.
It's at Arrowhead, right?
It's at Arrowhead. Yeah. That would put us at 7-6. We gotta beat the Browns. Yeah. I think that's a winnable game. That'll put us at 8-6. Beat the Broncos. 9-6. Colts. Let's just say we drop that game. That's gonna be a tough game.
Those last two to end the game are probably going to be the most important wins.
And then the Chargers to finish to round out this season.
Yeah.
So I think that really, realistically looking at the remaining schedule.
The thing about the Colts, though, they have and also the Chargers, too. They have, ways to lose games sometimes.
For sure.
If you notice this season, when they played the Ravens, the Colts, they fucking shot themselves in the foot towards the end.
Right.
And even with the Bucks, right? They just played the Bucks, right?
Yeah, with the Chargers too. We've kind of been talking about consistency throughout this whole episode, and Justin Herbert, it's his sophomore season. He's still young. He's a hell of a quarterback. But still, he just has these games where it's like, where are you, man? You looked like a fucking superstar last week.
I know.
And now, he's just inconsistent right now. He's so early in his career. He's inconsistent. So I think the last 2 games is really going to determine whether we're 9-8 or 10-7.
Yeah, definitely.
Only time will tell, right?
Yeah, those last 2 games are gonna have so much implication. And it's what you live for, man. To be there fighting for a chance, at least. You know what I'm saying?
But no matter what, I feel like we cannot lose this game.
This game against the football team,
especially since the Colts lost. They're 6-6 right now.
Yeah.
Right. In the standings, we got Chargers in 7th, Baltimore's in 1st. Baltimore, Patriots, Tennessee, KC, Cincy, man. If we would have won that game.
I know. We would have been right there.
Yeah, I never got to update y'all about that game either.
Oh, yeah. I
was MIA. I think I missed episode. I think I got stuck at work or something. Anyways, the stadium was beautiful, amazing. Now, I grew up in the Oakland Coliseum since I was 8 years old, right, all the way till they left for Vegas. It is a completely different environment. There wasn't so much a home field advantage, I don't think, and maybe it's just because that this is the first season. I'm kind of going off on a tangent, Vic.
I'm just here listening to.
Yeah,
I'm the audience too.
That's right. But I looked around and as a Raider fan, or just casually being at the stadium as a fan, I talked to my peers, everyone that was around us. Where we sat was section 300, and everyone around us, it just seemed like they were casual fans. The guy to my left was a season ticket holder, but he was a Bears fan.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And
what?
His lady was a Raider fan, right? There was a gentleman that sat in front of me that I heard him saying, "American football is so funny, isn't it?" He was a soccer fan, right? He was a foreigner. I think he was from like London or something like that. And then people to my right, they were just casual people. Like, it's just something to do, right? You're in Vegas. There's nothing else to do early Saturday morning or whatever. Or excuse me, early Sunday afternoon. And it's more of, in Oakland, it was more of a diehard vibe. Everyone that was there, like, the Raiders would score a touchdown. Everyone's giving each other high fives. And we're just out there. It almost felt like more of a family bond. In Vegas, it didn't really feel like that. And that's just to me. That was my personal experience. Obviously, I don't know how everyone else was, and again, maybe it's just going to take time for the culture to really brew in Vegas. Or the tickets to get cheaper. And by the way, mental note to anyone out there that's listening or considering going to a Raider game, don't buy the tickets at the beginning of the year. Sorry, Siri. Don't buy the tickets at the beginning of the year. Get them closer to the game that you want to go to. Just because I looked at my tickets, and it was a hell of a lot cheaper.
How much were they?
Than they were. They were like $280, which was like half the price that I had paid.
Yeah.
I had paid like almost $4 or something for each ticket at the beginning of the season. And remember when I was looking at the tickets, I looked at every game, and the Bengals game was the cheapest at the beginning of the year, and those were like $400. And I was in like the third level, dude. I wasn't even like really, really close like that. Yeah. So mental note to self: buy your tickets when it's closer to the game.
Good to know.
Good to know. Just a little mental notes.
So that was Mariano's experience at the new stadium, you guys. I hope to experience it probably next season. Maybe the tickets go down.
Yeah.
And
we'll get to a game.
Yes, sir. I think that wraps up this episode, though, right?
Yeah.
Touched on everything we needed to touch on.
Let's go.
We appreciate you, Raider Nation. It's always love. So I love doing these videos. I say it every week, but I really fucking mean it, man.
I love y'all.
Man, and especially...
I love all y'all 20 viewers.
Especially coming off wins and stuff. It's like, You know what I'm saying? It makes me even more happier to put out these videos. Even during the losses, we're still putting out videos.
The losses are tough though.
Yeah.
That makes doing these tough.
Yeah.
It does.
For sure. But definitely looking forward to this game this weekend. This has huge implications, as do a lot of these games for the rest of the season, because this is to get into the playoffs. And we're going to be here every second of the way, man.
That's right.
Any last notes, Mariano?
Nah.
That's it, Real Raiders Podcast. We are out of here.